So we're here at Haley Isaak's house. She has the Keen Ramps 2x4 quarter pipe. This is the exact size and dimensions that we sell. This is just a regular, normal 2x4 quarter pipe. Just this one has a special paint job that my buddy Dylan did, who works at Keen Ramps. And we figured what better way to teach you tricks than to teach you tricks on the exact ramps that we sell. So if you want to learn this trick, you can actually learn it on the thing that we're showing you how to do it on. Makes it a lot easier. I know a lot of times it's hard to find the right size quarter pipe to learn stuff on. And 2 foot tall by 4 foot wide is pretty ideal for learning just about any stall or basic quarter pipe trick, including little ollies to fakie, dropping in, etc. So today we're going to be showing you the backside disaster. It's sort of a earlier level quarter pipe trick. It's not very difficult, but it does look pretty cool. A backside disaster is when you do a backside 180 and land in a switch rock stall. Haley hasn't even warmed up yet. She just went straight into a backside disaster. That's how easy the trick is. Let's get a couple more.
I wouldn't say that's how easy it is. I'd say that's how good I am at it.
She's an idiot. Don't mind her. I mean, you did it. Well, I'll do another one. Oops. I definitely broke a light. So in order to do this trick, some of the things you're going to want to be able to do comfortably is obviously drop in. It is also sort of a similar approach to an axle stall, so I'd recommend being able to do a 50-50 stall or an axle stall. They're the same trick, they just different ways to refer to it. And possibly scooping back 180s on flat ground. If you can't scoop a back 180 on flat ground, that doesn't necessarily mean you can't do this trick, because there's not really an ollie involved. It's more of like an aggressive backside power slidey scoop, I would say. How would you go about describing this trick, Haley?
Like the pop for it?
Yeah, like how would you if someone came up to you and said, "Hey, I'm making a YouTube video for Keen Ramps about how to do this trick. What would you have to say about it?" What would you have to say about it?
You're asking the wrong person. I've done this trick. I just know how to do it. It's already ingrained in my head.
You just don't know how to explain
it. I don't know. Yeah, you just turn and give it a little scoop. You don't have to focus on it. I would focus more on turning than the actual pop.
Okay, well then I guess I will be the one explaining to you how to do the trick, because my girlfriend evidently is the worst. Okay, give me your board. I would be doing it, but I have a sprained ankle right now, so I'm going to limp on over. So when you're coming up to the quarter pipe, and I'm going to explain this for someone who's regular footed, so if you're goofy footed, it's just the reverse. I'd say about at this point, right before your front wheels get to the coping, is when you should start lifting up and turning. And it's not like, you're not doing this. You're not ollieing and back 180 and going to disaster. You're literally turning your shoulders this way at this point, and then slowly scooping, and then the coping will bounce your back wheels and scoop them over. So it's like, I almost think spinning back 180 without ollieing, and all the pressure is on my back foot. So heavy footed on your back foot, starting to kick turn. The second you hit that coping, scoop that 180. Really focus on getting your shoulder in front of your body, because when your shoulder leads the way, your legs always follow. So when you hit the coping, shoulder down, and then let your legs follow it, and then land in the backside disaster. So it's going to be like a scoop, have your shoulders here. What's good about this trick is when you get into it, it's like a pretty safe trick to stand on. Like there's not you're not really doing much of a balancing act. All your body weight can be on the deck of the ramp, and you can just sit here for a second until you're comfortable enough to go in. Another thing that you're gonna wanna be able to do for this trick is to come in from a switch rock. And that's when you roll up to the quarter pipe switch, put your front truck over the coping, and then come back down regular. One of the main mistakes that I see people doing with the backside disaster is they'll scoop into it correctly. They'll scoop the back 180. They'll turn their shoulders down. They'll get into it, but then their upper body still kind of twist it, and then they try to come in anyway. So a lot of times they'll start to over rotate when they come in, and that'll make them kind of slip out, or maybe they'll under rotate and it'll make them step off the board. Make sure that when you get into the backside disaster, you give yourself enough time to straighten your shoulders out so you can come in comfortably. And the more often you do it, the faster that process is going to be. So you get to the point where you can scoop the back disaster, and the second that you get into it, you're already adjusted to come in right away. That's why you'll see people do big backside ollies, kind of smack and come in real quick. It's because they've practiced this trick so much that they are already adjusted the second they get into it. So I would recommend possibly practicing some backside power slides on flat ground, and maybe some little backside 180s and some axle stalls. First, do like a backside 180 power slide, as if you were scooping into a backside disaster. Notice how she's not actually ollieing, and that's the same way that you're going to do the backside disaster. So I see a lot of times when people are trying to learn this trick, they try to ollie into the backside disaster, but in reality, you really just have to scoop into it. You can learn it by ollieing, but it's just harder and a little bit more difficult to control and easier to actually over-rotate. So just learning it with the scooping into it, using that backside power slide 180 technique is definitely going to be the easiest way to go about it. Another key component to this trick is the axle stall, because that has you riding up the ramp and already turning backside. And essentially, a backside disaster is where you just turn past axle stall and land in a backside disaster. You just start your turn a little bit earlier, and then you should just kind of just scoop naturally into it. Backside disasters feel very, very natural. The trick kind of lands itself. It's just a matter of keeping your balance once you get into the backside disaster and getting your shoulder weight right. So I would recommend having axle stalls really down before you start doing this trick. But once again, different strokes for different folks. Maybe you can do this trick and you've never done an axle stall before. Don't be afraid to learn tricks that you don't necessarily have all the components to learn. Sometimes tricks just click. And especially with the 2x4 quarter pipe, it's small enough that you're going to be pretty safe if you fall certain ways. Obviously, you can get hurt skating flat ground. But the likelihood of getting hurt on the 2x4 quarter pipe than, let's say, a concrete quarter pipe that's 3 or 4 foot is definitely less likely. So that's a switch rock, and that's when you skate at the quarter pipe, switch, and then you just put your front truck over it, and you come back in forward. A big issue that I see with people doing this one is they're not so used to putting weight on their nose to come back in, so they'll let the truck kind of hang up. Make sure that when you come back in from the quarter pipe, you do a little nose manual on the way in so your truck doesn't click on the coping and hang you up. Once again, the 2x4 quarter pipe's small enough that you can just kind of get away with hanging up on this thing most of the time. Like if your truck clicks the coping, usually don't stick and fall down. You usually just kind of bump over it. But a lot of quarter pipes that you're going to find at skate parks and stuff like that aren't going to be as forgiving. So definitely get it down and practice a lot to get your truck over the coping on the way in. Haley, do you think you could hang up on purpose for me on a switch rock? See how the wheels just kind of rolled over anyways? A lot of quarter pipes will have coping that stick out more and they won't let you get away with it like that. Our quarter pipes coping is set a little bit more forgiving. So also a quarter pipe that doesn't have coping at all is pretty forgiving for something like that. We call that noping, when it's just like a quarter pipe that just has flat transition and no metal on top. The other thing that you really need to focus on is getting that shoulder turned to scoop into the backside disaster. So notice how as she's approaching the ramp before she actually gets to the coping, her upper body is already slowly starting the rotation. Another thing that she just pointed out to me was you don't want to over-rotate your shoulders too much or turn too far. You basically want to start to turn your shoulders and then let your legs kind of catch up, because it's going to keep you from over-rotating. You don't want to fully whip that back 180 with your shoulders first, because then when you try to come in, it's going to make you want to revert. So when you scoop the back 180, your shoulders themselves don't do the back 180 first, but they do start the rotation first. And then you should try to land with your shoulders a little bit open, because if you scoop the back 180 and you have your shoulders all the way rotated already and you're in line, it's going to really make you want to revert out because your shoulders still want to keep turning. So it's more like you start the rotation with your shoulders first, and then as your feet catch up, you almost let them get a little bit in front of your shoulders, and then you want to land kind of squared off with the coping. Because when you're squared off with the coping, I can decide whether I want to revert in this way, I can adjust revert in this way, or I could just come straight in. So once again, it's going to be kind of a initial turn with your upper body, legs catch up, get in front of your upper body, then your legs are in line, your shoulders are kind of teed off with your feet. And that's like the best spot to be in a back disaster, to be comfortable. Those are the key components for learning this trick. Having your shoulders start to rotate before you get to the coping, letting your feet kind of catch up and then go past where your shoulders are, and landing in that teed off position where your shoulders are square. And then the rest of the trick is going to be a lot of you filling in the blanks, because one of the things you need to know when you're watching any skateboard tutorial is we all have different muscle memories and we all have different body weights. So it's going to be slightly different for each skater to learn a trick. These are just like the basic key components for learning this particular trick. So when you get out there and try it, you might find that turning your shoulders a little later or a little sharper is going to make this trick easier for you. But the point is for you to get out there and just to play with it. Like I said, this 2x4 quarter pipe is great to learn it on, but this trick tip tutorial will work on any quarter pipe. I do recommend you learning it on a smaller quarter pipe with way more forgiving coping, just because the hang up factor for backside disasters can be a little bit higher, but it is a very low effort trick. The ramp will do most of the work for you. All you need to do, make sure you clear your back truck on the way back in and just try to stay balanced and keep your shoulders, where they need to be.
Try to switch one.
You want to do a switch one?
Try to switch one.
You're going to do a switch one?
Yeah.
And Haley's going to do a switch one, I guess. Do it.
I don't know. Just like take everything you just taught me
And just do a switch?
put it in my brain. Yeah. You just come up. Okay. You just turn into it. Let's try a switch power slide.
Yeah, I think if you can switch power slide, you can switch back D. Okay, she's going to try to learn it switch using the tutorial that I just gave her.
Okay,
I feel like we should just do this with every trick tip tutorial then. I can't wait for you to learn switch board slide to hurricanes.
Oh god. Carry on this one.
Just switch scoop. I think you got it.
Alright.
Yeah, you got it. Oh, there you go. So if she can use this tutorial to learn the trick switch, obviously she's going to clean that garbage up. Do not put that phone back in your pocket. You're not done. That was disgusting. But she's using the same technique to learn it switch, so you can use it to learn it regular, I'm sure. It was the toes for me. You got it right here. Try one more. I'll have a link for this quarter pipe in the description if you'd like to purchase this exact quarter pipe. At least the exact dimensions, not the one that says no you that is currently located at Haley's house, but your very own Keen Ramps quarter pipe. And we're going to be trying to do a couple of videos like this a week. Some are going to be on our quarter pipes. Some are going to be on the kickers. Some are going to be on wedges. Some will be on flat. Some will be on the flat bar. Some will be on the ledge. We're going to try to do trick tip tutorials to help you guys learn how to skate. And obviously, we're going to be showing you how to do them on our ramps. So to make it a little bit easier on you, if you want to learn on the same obstacle, like I said in the beginning, as us, by all means, purchase one of our ramps. Thanks for watching, and until next time.